you said Maradona, and
Yeah.
your name, Terry Butcher, the name of Shilton, of Glenn Hoddle, are associated with Maradona from the great goal.
Yes.
What do you remember? Because here in Argentina, the goal for Maradona to England is more like a legend. How do you remember now?
I think the best way I can put this is what was amazing. Sir Bobby Robson, the England manager at the time, said to me before the game, before we kicked off in the Azteca, 1986, he said, "Don't worry, Terry, he's only got 1 foot." And my God, when I looked at this guy playing in games earlier in the same competition, I checked him out. He's such a big name. But I don't think people realised how good he really was. This is a guy playing in an era where every football match that he had, somebody was trying to kick him down, stop him from playing, man marking him, making it as difficult as possible. And people don't understand that Maradona had to have the fight first before he could play. And he done that brilliantly. I mean, he wasn't the tallest, but he was probably as wide as he was tall. He's so confident in his own game. It didn't matter how many players were around him, how many players were marking him, give me the ball. And that's what, for me, the Argentine side at that time, they had 10 players that were there to defend and win the ball. And when they won the ball, their next job was to give it to Diego Maradona because he was so exceptional, so brilliant, created goals, scored goals, put himself on the line, put his body on the line, put his whole mentality on the line for his country, which he loved dearly. And he'd done this in Spain. He'd done it in Italy. He'd done it in World Cups. This guy was phenomenal. There'll not be any more Diego Maradonas. Pelé done everything for Santos. He had a very late career up to New York Cosmos. Not nearly the same. I look at Messi, who I think is a fabulous player also, but not with the same strength and tenacity. He hasn't got the same, as they say in Trinidad, he didn't have the same bad mind. Maradona, if you kick Maradona, his bad mind was how he was going to get you back.
Yes.
And he would get you back not just by kicking you, by beating you and scoring goals. That's how good the guy was.
This England team were fantastic with you, Gary Lineker, with Joe Barnes in the offense. Was a really good team, no?
Well, I thought man for man, the 11 English players were better than the 11 Argentine players. But the only difference, the biggest difference, Diego Maradona. You had the best player in the world. And when you look at the game wasn't a great game. It wasn't a flowing football match. In the early stages, it was like going to war. And this was on the back of the Falklands War, which we'd had earlier. There was a lot of political things going on because of that. But while we were crashing into each other, while we were making it very difficult, both the teams, the one guy that stood out was Maradona.
Yes.
Brilliant on the ball.
Yes. You understand or see in this game a special energy because the Falkland War, the Guerra de Islas Malvinas. You see in the Argentine players something like that or no?
Absolutely. You see the hotel facilities that we stopped in for the World Cup, and this was in Guadalajara as well as Mexico City. Everything was American news channels, and we couldn't understand Mexican. We wouldn't understand Argentine. So we were tuning in to the US channels, and the US channels were going heavy on the Falklands War between Argentina and England, UK, and it was very difficult because of that. It drummed the game up on the wrong side. It was a very physical game. It was lots of contact. It was two teams with lots of national pride going at each other rather than playing football, and that was a shame. And again, Maradona, very, very proud of his nationality, very proud of his team, his countrymen, and on top of the battle, he was the one player that stood out that played. He showed us how to play the game. It's brilliant.
The last, Terry, first you said Bobby Robson. What kind of guy were Bobby? Because it's like a really good guy in the TV or talking. What kind of guy was?
Bobby Robson was the sort of guy you would put your life on the line for. Bobby Robson. Everybody loved him. He would ring you up all times of hours of the day through the week. This is the national team manager that you would see every 2 or 3 months. He would be on the phone to you 2 or 3 times a week. How you doing? What's happened? I watched you last weekend. I thought you could have done this rather than that. He was one of them brilliant characters, a man manager. I thought at times, now I played under Terry Venables.
Yes, Terry Venables.
Park Rangers and Tottenham. Terry was also England manager. Terry was, in my opinion, a much better tactician. Tactically better than Bobby.
Yes.
But Bobby was good, and above all, his man management was the best. Everybody loved him, and you would die for him.
Yes, yes. And the last, in Spurs, you play with Ozzy Ardiles or no?
I played for 6 months with Ozzy before he left the club. What a lovely man, what a gentleman, what a great footballer. He was coming towards certainly the end of his Spurs career, and he moved into Europe from there. But this was a guy with vast experience, great on the ball, great tactical awareness, and just a nice person, really good guy. This is a guy that came from very humble roots, Argentine, and small frame, small figure, but very vibrant, very good on the ball, very intelligent with everything he'd done, and he helped people around him. So whether it was on the field of play or off the field, he always had good advice to give to all of the people around him. I thought that was possibly his biggest strength. But great player, great